Hello everyone, it's your boy Dusty Maxwell coming at you with another product review, and today we got the Arcade1up 8-in-1 Pac-Man Partycade. This is a item that's been on my list for quite some time. I've seen it pop up on websites every now and then as a part of the Arcade1up family, and today I'm just gonna kind of go through a couple things. Gonna go through the design, gonna go through, of course, the games, and I'll go through, of course, who I think this product is for. This review is not affiliated with Arcade1up. This was an independent purchase. This was something that I have wanted for a while, so this is not going to be influenced by anything, but I'm also not going to go too much into the unit itself. I'm just going to go around the basics and just kind of give a breakdown of what I think about the games, how they play, and what I think about the unit in general. So let's get into it. Now, this Arcade1up, it is one of the two Pac-Man ones that they have out right now. They have the Pac-Man and they have the Miss Pac-Man. Now, this particular unit is the Pac-Man Partycade. The thing that pushed me to purchase the Pac-Man one was, of course, the different games that it came bundled with. And the game that sold me in particular was Mappy. I love Mappy and I love Mappyland, so I was excited at the idea that I could kind of have an arcade experience of Mappy. So let's talk about the unit and the design itself. Now, as you can see, you got the old school Pac-Man artwork on this, which is kind of cool because you can sort of see Pac-Man in his first, I guess, initial conception, if we can call it that, or the original artwork of Pac-Man. The back of this unit, when you turn it around, you kind of have the wood particle board going on back here. Was a little bit disappointed at that, just because when you're looking at it, there's a lot of real estate back here. I feel that there should have been artwork that just covered this whole thing completely. We're kind of left with a bit of a missed opportunity on this. Now, I only make a comment about this because, as you can see, this unit, it can be played on a surface. This is something that's incredibly portable. You can bring it to your kitchen table. If you have a bar, you can put it up on a bar. If you walk into a room where it's facing away from you, the first thing that you're going to see is this plain particle board at the back of it, and it's not the greatest looking. From top to bottom, this Partycade should have been covered in artwork. Something that could have been done with this is there just should have been maybe the history of Pac-Man put at the back of this, or the evolution of Pac-Man artwork over the years, and we could kind of see something like that. So the back of this kind of feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. For the most part, I've been playing this Partycade on a surface or on a kitchen table, but you can also hang it on the back of your door with some metal brackets that it comes with, and the metal brackets fit into the two holes that are located at the top of the unit, so you can bring it from door to door. And then the final thing you can do is you can basically screw it into the wall, and you can have it hanging in a situated place in your home. That part for me is a big commitment. I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon, and I think that's why I'm just leaving the brackets on it, because I like the idea of just being able to carry this around anywhere in my home. In terms of material, the sides of the unit are really sturdy, and then the lifeblood of this, of course, where you have the buttons and the joystick. Pretty good, pretty well made stuff here. My only real problem is the screen. At first glance, when looking at pictures online, I guess I was sort of under the impression that this was going to be a bit of like a glass screen, or something that was going to be a little bit harder. The screen itself that covers the entire front of the unit, it's sort of like a bendy plastic. It's not weak by any means, but it's plastic that feels like over time, I feel like you're gonna get those little scratchy artifacts on it. I feel like that's gonna be the case with this. It feels like that sort of plastic. So my advice when wiping this down, use a cloth that you would use to shine your eyeglasses or something like that. Take care of the screen, because I don't think that it's the strongest material. When you turn the power on to this unit, you get the Arcade1up logo, and then it brings you to the home page where you have your 8 games that you can pick and choose from and just go at it. So when you start a game and you start playing it, at any point in time, if you want to go back to the home screen, you just press down on the player 1 button, you hold it for about 5 seconds, and it brings you back to the home screen. Very simple, very easy to navigate around, and the presentation of how the games are situated are quite well. Up top, you have your volume button. It goes all the way up to 15, and your sound's gonna pop out of the speaker in the bottom right corner, and the sound is quite loud. It would have been cool if they put a phone jack on this so you could play these games with some headphones on. Not a necessity, but like I said, would have been nice to have, just because if you're playing this in a home where you have, your family or your friends or kids and it's bedtime or whatever, it's the wee hours of the night, you want to play this with sound, but you can't because you don't want to make noise. You're going to have to play it, of course, with no volume or super, super low. The speaker is quite loud, and that was also surprising for me. I was like, how much juice are we going to get out of this thing? But it's pretty loud. I mean, if you're in a quiet house, you can hear it from like downstairs or upstairs. You will hear this thing, so the sound is pretty decent. Now let's talk about the bread and butter of this unit, the games. Yes, the games. I'll just go one by one here and just give you my opinion about them. So Mappy was the game that pushed me to buy this particular unit. It looks good, it plays good. However, I will say that it moves a little bit slower than what I'm used to from playing Mappy on my TV. When I do emulate this game, it's a lot quicker. I noticed that this arcade version was a little bit slower, so I don't know if that's how it was in the arcades. The other thing is I also have a little Namco plug and play that has Mappy on it, and the Mappy game on that one, it moves a lot quicker as well. So on this particular unit, Mappy does run a little bit slower. Mappy is a bit of a challenge on this one, but I kind of like that because I feel like I'm playing it again for the first time. Now, surprisingly, the game that does shine the most on this unit, or not surprisingly, is Pac-Man. Pac-Man feels great on this, and that makes sense. He's the star of this unit. Pac-Man just feels great. The joystick is responsive, it's quick, the sound is good. It plays exactly like you would remember it. It's a pretty good port of that arcade version. Pac-Pal, this one's really cool. This is one that I imagine not a lot of people know about or have played. The little green character Mill assists Pac-Man in this version of the game to help collect items. Super Pac-Man, I've never played this in an arcade version. You have to collect the keys to open up those doors to get to those items. It's got that original Pac-Man arcade vibe, but at certain points, Pac-Man gets a lot bigger, hence Super Pac-Man. Dig Dug, it's interesting. I've always appreciated Dig Dug. I've played it on the little Namco unit that I have. But I gotta say, Dig Dug on this unit has sort of become my favorite go-to game. Dig Dug plays awesome. When you think about a lot of these games, they were sort of supposed to be played in this way. They were made for the arcade joystick and the arcade button and you being close up to the screen. And I gotta say, Dig Dug for me on this unit feels the best. The buttons are pretty responsive. This is the game that I'm trying to master on this unit. Moving on to the other games. Now we have quite a bit of fixed shooter arcade video games on this Partycade. Galaga, it looks and plays pretty well. Button pressing, they don't really coincide with your pushes. There's a bit of like a beat that you have to wait for when pressing your button. It's not like instantaneous, so you have to sort of time your button pushes on this one, or just be aware of that. There's a bit of like a lag in between button pushes. Galaga looks great, sounds great. The movement is really fluid on all the other characters. Then we got Galaxian, very similar to Galaga. Galaga and Galaxian, they're almost like brothers in a way. They feel very similar, and you probably will be thinking, what's the difference between these two? I guess it just depends on which flavor you're feeling for the type of day. If you want a little bit more of the sort of Space Invaders vibe, you can play Galaxian. If you want your characters a little bit more free-flowing to shoot at, you can go for Galaga. And then we have Xevious. The cool thing about Xevious is that there's a lot more color in this one for this fixed arcade shooter. You do get to move up and down though, you get to move right to left. So there's a lot more freedom with this one when you're shooting at objects that are hurtling towards you. Same kind of situation, the button pushing, there is like that lag in between every button push. There's been some feedback out there online about this one in particular, how you can't move diagonally in this game. In other versions, you can move diagonally, but with this version of Xevious, it seems that there's like a 4-way restriction on this. You can only move forward, left, down, and right. So be aware of that. And I think because of that, it does make the game a little bit more challenging. I don't know if that's for the better or for the worse, but a lot of people who remember this game, they do remember that diagonal movement in Xevious, and I think with this version, it doesn't exist in it. This game still is really cool to play. It's got a lot more punchier greens and blues in this one, so there's a lot more color instead of like black endless void of space that you get from Galaga and Galaxian. So who can we say this arcade unit is for? Well, for me personally, the reason why I got this is because I started out wanting an Arcade1up. I was looking at the Ninja Turtles Arcade1up and the Simpsons Arcade1up, but at this point for me, I just don't have the space where it has to sit in a fixed place. The nice thing about this unit is that it's so small that you can pretty much put it anywhere in your house easily, and if it's something that you just want to pop into the closet for the time being, you can do that with this. So for me personally, this unit made sense to have and purchase right now at this time in my life because it's easy to move around. If you're someone that wants that arcade experience but don't have the space for one of the bigger ones to commit to, something like this is a good alternative for you. And I think it's a really cool idea that they have invested time into making these units for people that want some sort of an arcade experience but don't have the space to commit to one of the bigger units that they are selling. The price point for this unit, it's not cheap. It is a little bit pricey for what you're getting. You're basically with either the Pac-Man version or the Miss Pac-Man version of the 8-in-1 Partycade. You're looking at $349.99 Canadian plus tax, and for the US, you're looking at about $280 plus tax. Now, that's not cheap. When you're looking at something that's like $349, you're looking at like Nintendo Switch territory here. For a unit that only offers 8-in-1 games, where it's not giving you that 100% arcade experience, the price point may make you second guess your purchase, but what it may also do is it may also just push you to probably invest in a bigger arcade unit. For me personally, I'm happy with this purchase. Like I said, this was something that I've been eyeballing for quite some time, and I just went out and got it, and I'm fairly happy with this unit. The great thing about this is that if you have friends coming over, they're gonna love this. After dinner, or if you're just hanging out, this is something that they're gonna wanna play. The funny thing is, every time I tell people, hey, I can just emulate this on the TV, do you wanna play these games on the TV? They're like, no, I wanna play the arcade. I want to play this version. And that's what you're getting with this. It's that cool arcade feeling that you would get playing at an arcade, but it's in this nice, small little compact unit that you can just bring anywhere. So it does what it needs to do. Just be aware of those few little things that I mentioned, and if you can get over that, I think that this would be a good purchase for you. I don't like giving numbers to reviews, but I feel like with this one, because of the price point, because of what it is, I am going to give it a review. I'm going to give this unit a 7.2. That's what I'm giving it. I think with these units, there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think that these units are a great start to something really cool, and hopefully they continue on with doing some cool stuff like this and adding some new features, and I'm really happy that Arcade1up is just giving life to these games and bringing arcades into the home. That's what I got for you guys today. Hope that helped. Hope that gave you a better sense of what the unit can do and has given you a little bit more info. If you like what you've seen and heard, give us a like and subscribe on the Select. This is Dusty Maxwell, and we'll see you on the next one.